Hey, what's up? This is Hans with Request for Music, and this is a long overdue tutorial on mods in Synclavier. So, what can you do with that kind of stuff? As most of you know, you use modulation, for instance, or the mods, for instance, to use your pitch bend wheel to use on tuning and your sustain pedal on note sustain and velocity and volume and stuff like that. And most of the time you'll be using your mod wheel for vibrato. Um, in this case, I'm going to use a mod wheel to do a lot of other things. So I'm going to take this aftertouch already out, because what you have is a lot of sources and a lot of targets or destinations on the bottom. So I will be using the mod wheel for this as well, and maybe even mod wheel for a lot of other sources and destinations as well. But first of all, start with this and start with a sound that's slightly nicer than just the sine wave that I use now. I use my simple sine effects to start off with, which has a slight reverb, chorus and delay in it, to just get rid of that very cold and very simple sound that it is otherwise. So first of all, I'm going to go into my mixer and change a bit of the FM mod to change on this. So just have some sound. I could, for instance, change my my source or my modulator to change a bit of the sound as well. So make it a bit sawtooth like. And obviously I could use my envelope to change the decay of the modulator itself. So I'd have to go into my envelopes and go into the harmonic envelope, get my sustain back to 0, put up the decay a bit. So I have something like this, yeah. Something like that. And say now, for instance, that I wanted to have sort of an echo kind of thing, but a controlled echo in the sense that I can use my modulator wheel to set that up. I could use my delay time of my harmonic envelope to change that. So I would need a next partial, so I'd copy this one first. So go back into my screen, go into my partial select the first partial, copy that one, go over to the second partial and paste it there. So now what I can do is just change the modulation or the mod to go into the delay part of that. So if I go back into my screen, go back into my mods part and look at my second partial, or at least first of all go to the destination of this first mod wheel part. I click on modulation destination and change the delay time for the harmonic. Now the delay time would be 0 for my first. So and as you probably know, is if you dial something up, you can change, or you can look at the settings at the lower left bottom. So I'll make sure that this is 0. And the next one, if at this moment it's they're perfectly aligned, so there's no delay for the second one, but this first, as soon as I'll start dialing the second one up, it goes pretty fast with this delay part. It's already out of range somewhere now, because the value is going to be very high with this set at 1.0. So I'll change this back to say something like 0.005. Now you hear that if I have it dialed up completely, then it's a rather nice echo kind of sound. Yeah, so this is one push on my keyboard and my model wheel all the way up, and it gets this delay. So if I get back into my screen and I'll copy this a couple of times more, say I wanted 4 of these, I get into my third and paste it, go into my fourth and paste it, get back into my screen and get back to the settings of this. This was set at 0.005. Let's say I want this at 0.010. to have it at quite exact distances, 0.010 and 0.015. So got it like that now. And obviously I can change the setting in the mixer to for instance put these over the pan a bit and maybe change back the volume of the next echoes as an echo normally would be. Something like that. Yeah. So you got perfectly aligned echoes, and if you want it faster, you'll just dial it up. And if you want it slower, then you have to go back into this mod setting again and change this settings for all of these values. So if I change this to be 0.010 and 0.020 and 0.030, it's quite a bit longer. And then I've got my dial, because if I set my mod all the way back, they're all in sync. And as soon as I start dialing it up, something like that. So that's an easy way of handling that. Another thing would be maybe to change the filter sort of sound of the sound in generals. Yeah, so I could use my FM amount as a destination for that. So if I take that as the destination, got my mod wheel at first set as the source. Now I can change. I can dial my mod wheel all the way up, and now select all of my partials and dial my mod wheel up to change how much my mod wheel will affect the FM amount. Yeah, because it starts off at the beginning point at which it is, and then just adds all of those values to that. So now something like that. And if I'll dial back my my modulator wheel again, I'm starting off at the standard value. So for instance, if I change my envelopes a bit, I change the decay for all of them. So I got all of them selected and select my first partial to change everything. And if you even wanted to have the attack different, if you're at a higher mod and delay value, for instance, could obviously go back into your mod, use another mod wheel as a modulation source, use the harmonic attack to be your destination, and just dial that up again. So if it's at full setting and I wanted to have this kind of attack on the top, I dial up my modulation wheel, then set my settings, and then if I go back, I get everything normal. I could even sort of change the sound, because now if it's completely dialed back, the volume is higher. Yeah, so if I would use my mod wheel as a setting for the volume, yeah, I could actually change it that way, so that if it's and then I would need to set my volumes all the way back as well. So if I change this back a little, if this was to be my starting volume, then I would need some more volume if I dial up my mod wheel. So if I change this up, it will automatically compensate for the fact that if I dial it up or if I dial the mod wheel down, all of the partials would sound together, so they would be harder than if I dial it up. Yeah, so. So anyway, so that's what you could do with mod wheel, and in combination with quite some other stuff that's in there. So hope that works out for you, and hope you can find some other uses for it. And I'll be back with another one, hopefully in a short amount of time than it went this time. So I'll be back anyway. Cheers. Bye bye.